Apple finally redesigned the MacBook Air. It's something fans have been asking for years. It was last redesigned in 2010. To put that in perspective, that's when Instagram first launched. Apple first introduced the MacBook Air in 2008. At the time, it was the thinnest and lightest computer you could buy. But over the last several years, Apple didn't do much to the Air, only upgrading the processor. Its fans tired of the old grainy display, which Apple had completely replaced on its other laptops. The new MacBook Air has the sharper screen that fans have been clamoring for years. Text and icons don't look blurry like they did on the older Air models, and those big aluminum bezels have been replaced with the less distracting black bezels that match those found on the MacBook and MacBook Pro. The trackpad is much bigger too and gives you even more real estate for zooming into pictures, gesturing through apps, and more. The new butterfly keyboard feels good, but I don't like it as much as the keyboard of older MacBook Air models. There isn't much depth when you tap a key, which can be jarring. The new MacBook Air kept its original wedge-shaped design, except that it's much slimmer. We decided to show you just how much lighter the new MacBook Air is by comparing it to everyday objects. At 2.7 pounds, the new MacBook Air is 3 ounces lighter than the 2012 model and over 2 pounds lighter than a 500-sheet pack of printer paper. It's 32 ounces heavier than a mug and 37 ounces heavier than a notebook. The second I opened it in my office, my colleagues all gathered around and attempted to slide it into purses and backpacks. They were all giddy that it's lighter than our work-issued laptops and older MacBooks, which can sometimes feel like a brick that's been strapped to your back. If you're anything like me, you hate entering your password every time you open your laptop. That's why we were born with fingerprints. The MacBook Air finally takes advantage of Touch ID, but I wish Apple included Face ID instead, which I'm used to using on my iPhone XS Max. The speakers get nice and loud and have great surround sound audio, which is perfect for lounging around and watching movies without headphones. Here's what's wild. The regular MacBook costs $100 more than the new MacBook Air, but the new MacBook Air is more powerful. That means you can run more apps, have more browser tabs open, and still see better performance. There are 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports on the side of the MacBook Air, which is 1 more than you get with the regular MacBook. That's fine for most people, since you can use them to add monitors or any USB-C gadget. Finally, the battery life still rocks. I spent most of my weekend trying to match Apple's promise of 13 hours of video playback by streaming movies until the battery drained. I set the brightness to medium and the MacBook Air finally died after 11 hours and 3 minutes. That's short of the 13 hours of video playback Apple promises, but I was streaming the movies over Wi-Fi, which also drains battery life. It's still incredibly impressive. This is the MacBook Air refresh we've been waiting for, and I think it's going to help spur new Mac sales. At $1,200, the new MacBook Air is $200 more than the original, but its updated display, great battery life, and solid performance will make it appealing to people who have been waiting to upgrade their MacBooks.